Hey everyone, it's Mojaxx back in the DJ City UK lab. Today I'm reviewing the Pioneer DJ DDJ-RB. This is the entry-level controller in their Rekordbox DJ range of controllers. Now previously there was the S range, so the SX and the SR and so on. These were Serato DJ controllers. The R range like this and the RR and the RX and the RZ and so on are designed for Rekordbox DJ, the performance software part of Rekordbox now. Now that opens up something very interesting with this straight away. Okay, this is $250 street price in the US, and that's a pretty good price for a basic 2-channel DJ controller with all the features that you need to get going. That's fine, you know, it's perfectly reasonable. Except this comes with a full license for Rekordbox DJ, which if you buy that on its own has a price of $129. So basically, if you're looking to buy Rekordbox DJ, the performance software, for an extra 120 bucks, you can pick up this rather tasty little controller. Now, that's a really interesting proposition because that makes this really incredible value. Now, the thing is as well, unlike Serato DJ, for example, this is not a dongle to unlock the software. You get the license key to unlock the software. And that means you could use that copy of Rekordbox, that license, to work with CDJs in HID mode in the club. You can use it with, you could buy the DVS plugin and you can actually have DVS and use that in the club with a Pioneer mixer and turntables. And you're on your way, you're in that Rekordbox ecosystem, but this is the full performance software and it will work with any supported hardware. That's pretty interesting. You know, this is a good value straight away. This is a very good value piece. Now, let's look at the hardware itself, okay? It is a basic 2-channel plastic controller. It's 250 bucks. We're not expecting anything more than that, but it's got the nice typical kind of Pioneer feeling jog wheels. Very familiar. If you've used anything like the SX or anything before, you'll be familiar with these and they feel very good. You have your 3-band EQ and that's tweakable. You can adjust the way that works in the settings in the software. You've got filter knobs, you've got 2 channels there. Now the predecessor to this was the SB2, the Serato controller. That one I had in the lab for a while and I wasn't terribly sold on it. It had some really kooky ideas going on and some of them just, it seemed like they'd thrown a bit too much at it. This is more stripped down. That had stuff like a fader filter thing. It had 4 decks available, but it only had 2 faders, all this kind of stuff. This is much more practical in a lot of regards. You know, you've now got dedicated transport controls, so you cue and play, which will be familiar to any Pioneer users. You've got 8 pads then, there's no transport controls on the pads, so all the pads are usable for hot cues or for whatever else is that you want to use in the different modes. You have got fairly short pitch faders. That's one complaint I do have, you know, they're really kind of very short indeed. And even in plus or minus 6% range, the accuracy is good, but it's not quite as good as I would like it to be. You know, I fear that beginners using this might get a bit frustrated with the accuracy of that and they might end up using sync. And of course, it's fine to use sync if you're an experienced DJ, but if you're learning, you've got to learn how to manually beat match. It's so important. And I do worry that such short pitch faders might put DJs off a little bit from doing that when they start out. In terms of effects, you've got lots of options. Now, there are limited knobs up here at the top. You know, we've only got on, off, we've got the beat amount, and we've got the level, depth, and so on. You've got lots of different effects to choose from, you know, plenty to get through, and we can select them with the actual shift function on there. So phaser, loads to choose from, but then you've also got the pad effects. Now, I did a video about the new, most recent version of Rekordbox recently. Check that out, we'll link that in the description below. So I've kind of showed the pad effects there, but again, just to show you, you've got loop rolls, slip loops at the top, and then you've got these pad effects at the bottom. And the 4th one, the 8th pad, will always be a release effect. I love it. You know, so much to choose from in terms of that. Also, rather than just a regular filter, this is a color effect knob effectively. So you can go in and you can go between the default filter and you can go to user mode and you can pick a big variety of stuff. So like dub echo, for example. Let's turn that on. Space, sweep, jet, it's like your flanger, and the crush and the noise. All of these are in there to use because you've got the full Rekordbox DJ, and that's where this is so compelling. You know, this is not shipping with some kind of stripped down intro version of the software, some basic thing. This is the full Rekordbox DJ. The only stuff you're missing is, you know, the DVS and the video. And it will work with those. If you've got video enabled, the faders will work for video and so on, that's all fine. It just doesn't come with that addition in the box. You have to pay for that as an extra thing. But yeah, so much power in here. You can do internal recording, of course. I'm recording this as we go. And you've got a mic input. Now this is the one thing, the ins and outs on this, right? There are no ins, basically. There's a mic input which feeds into the software. You've got a 3-band EQ, echo, reverb and pitch effects on there. That all works fine. And it feeds to the recording as well, it feeds to the master, so that's great. But there's no auxiliary input, so you can't run any extra source into this. And it is bus powered only. There's no external power supply. So even if you had an aux input, if your system crashed, you would lose audio regardless. So that's something to bear in mind. In terms of the output, quality is very good and the actual volume is fine. You know, I run it into a number of different mixers. No issues with the output level. For a USB powered device, it's perfectly fine. The other very cool thing that you can do with this, and you couldn't do with any of the Serato DJ controllers from Pioneer, is that this will allow you to use your built-in speakers on your laptop or your desktop and still cue through the system, through the actual RB. That's very interesting for someone who might be wanting this for taking on the road to practice mixes and so on and blends in a hotel room before a gig. Wow, that's pretty cool because you need no external speakers. You can run this and your laptop, just play the audio through the laptop speakers. That's very compelling. And it wasn't until I actually started playing around with this that I realized how cool that was. You know, I would sort of use it in the club and hook it into a mixer like normal. Then I'd get home, want to play around with it. I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to plug into? Just run it through the laptop speakers and it works. It works perfectly fine. There's no messing around with aggregate devices or anything. It just works. So yeah, overall, from a beginner's perspective, I've got no issues with it apart from the pitch faders. I would like them to be a bit longer. I mean, physically, there's not really any space for it. I could do with it being a tiny bit bigger and get longer pitch faders on there. But for a beginner, otherwise, everything else is here that you need. You know, you've got plenty of controls. For an experienced DJ who wants something to take on the road, a backup controller, or just to kind of practice and get a workout on the road, it's great. You know, it's very simple. It feels like bigger Pioneer kit, so you won't be put off by any weird design decisions. That's all very good. It's cool. It's a great bit of kit, 250 bucks. And bearing in mind, that whole thing, you're getting $130 worth of software with it, which you can then use with any other hardware that Pioneer supports. That's pretty good value right there. Can't knock that at all. Thank you for watching today. Make sure you subscribe for all our future tips, tricks, and product reviews. I'll see you soon.